Hello friends, Tanya here, and we are taking part in the Autumn Gathering blog hop for the release for August for Trinity stamps. Check out these rules for how to enter a chance to win one of two $25 gift certificates. We are going to make a bunch of fun stuff. We're going to start out with this Boo-tiful Soul card. That's what I'm calling it. I'm using the Sheets and Giggles stamp set. And I'm coloring these cute ghosts. I am using all four of these ghosts. I'm using the T1 and T0 Copic markers to color these. You could use whatever grays or light blues. I've seen some really pale purples. I've seen pink. You could make these ghosts any color you want. And I've just enjoyed coloring them. They're pretty easy. The artist has made it really simple with all of these folds in the sheet to decide where to put your shading. I decided to bump it up some more by adding some shimmer with this Nouveau Shimmer pen, or is this Spectrum Noir? I don't know. I have a variety of sparkle pens in my stash. They usually come in kits and they all work great. Whatever sparkle method you would like to use, you could add. There are coordinating dies for every single image and sentiment in this stamp set. Loving that. I want Trinity to keep doing it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're going to die cut our cute little ghosts. I'm only going to show you one. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Sakura Jelly Roll pen in black to his eyes and his mouth. I test it a little bit on a scrap of paper, and I'm going to tell you right now, I did not wait for my sparkle pen to dry long enough because one of these eyes does not want to work so well. I did wait long enough for all of the rest of these, and it turned out beautiful. The next new product we're going to use is this Argyle stitched plate, and it is around 6 inches by 5.5 inches. Good size to do all kinds of different things. Now, I'm showing you how to do this on an entire half sheet of cardstock. Now, I've done the first impression, and now I'm going to line this up and wiggle it until the die locks in place on the previous die cut portion. Now, I'm going to use my low-tack tape here to keep that in place, doing another extra wiggle to make sure it's where it belongs, and then run it back through the die cutting machine. And look at that, a whole half sheet of Argyle stitching. Next, we're going to use the Retro Diamond Pattern Stencil set. It's a layering stencil set, and we're going to line this up on the Argyle stitching so that the cross hatches line up perfectly in the middle of our diamonds. I'm going to tack this down with some masking tape, and then we're going to use some of this Decofoil Metallics. Oh gosh, it's like a paste or a gel. I've had these for probably 3 years, so they're a little dry, at least this black one is. And I had already tried rehydrating it with some water, and it did help significantly, but I needed to make it a little thinner to do what I want to do. So I added a little extra water. I have this candle holder that I use for a variety of things in my craft room. And these ink blending tools fit perfectly inside this candle holder. Just serendipitous. And I thinned that out a little more, and I'm using this ink blender to apply the black ice metallics directly to the paper. Then I'm taking the second stencil and lining that up over the remaining cross hatches. So this will create a harlequin effect because I'm going to use what color is this one? Now this one I don't have to water down. There it is, white pearl. Another one of the Decofoil Metallics. And we're going to add that to these diamonds. It looks fantastic. I really love this. This is just some cheap black cardstock also. So don't think you have to pull out your high quality black cardstock for this. This works fantastic. It's just a 65 or 80 pound black cardstock. I did also do this with some Nouveau embellishment mousse, and that was This one is English Heather, and it was forest green and maybe toasted almond or something like that. It was a light color, and I did that on some other pieces. Here's another look at that finished product. I did die cut that with one of the A7 Modern Embossed dies. Here we have all of our ghosts, and then we have some pieces from the Slimline Spooky Scene dies. I've got some trees. There's a right and a left facing version of this tree, and it does line up with the edge of the cardstock or with your panel. Now I wanted this to have a little extra dimension, so I die cut each of these trees 3 times, and I adhered them together to stack them and make them a little thicker. Now this is that same inexpensive black cardstock that I was using, so they don't become super thick. If you were using a nice heavyweight 100-pound cardstock, you might get away with just 2 layers. Just lining up the trunk and then the branches. It's actually not that difficult to get these all lined up. I do wipe away any extra glue, and it does dry clear and matte. Trinity Stamps has their own glue that released this month, and it's fantastic. Works very well. And you won't be seeing me use it because I'm allergic to it. I have a trouble with lots of glues so far. Barely Art is the only one that does not set off my asthma. So that's what you'll see me use. I would love it if my lungs weren't such delicate flowers and I could use all of the fun glues out there, but there we are. So if you're allergic to latex or formaldehyde, which I think is what triggers my asthma with lots of glues, then just know that maybe that glue's not for you. And there it is. That's the Crafty Glue Friend. Here's me testing it out to see if I can tolerate it. It does work fantastic. I like the fine tip on this glue. I like the amount of wiggle time that you have after you apply your glue and then apply your piece to your project. I like how fast it dries. I like that it dries clear. And it has a nice, strong bond, very comparable to the Barely Art Precision Glue. Loving it. I'm trimming off the extra of the trees hanging off of this panel that I'd already die cut with the Modern Embossed Edge A7 dies. We're going to adhere this to the card front. I did put some extra cardstock scraps on the back of that panel to give it a little extra strength and a little extra height. Going to add my Misty to add some weight, to add nice even pressure. Next we're going to add our ghosts, and I do pull out my trusty coaster blanks. For those that want to know what a coaster blank is, it is simply a pulpboard coaster blank like you get under your drink at the restaurant. You can purchase these without advertising on them. I get mine on Amazon, and I'll have that linked in the description box below. It just is a little thinner than the foam adhesive, and this is what I prefer to use. You use whatever you'd like. You can just add extra layers of cardstock. You can use foam tape. You can use whatever floats your boat. We're going to add this little ghost at the top. I like the pattern we have. There are 4 different ghosts, each of them in a different position. We've got a right facing, a left facing, a swooping down, and a floating up. At least that's how I picture them in my mind. Adding some extra glue behind each of these pieces and adding them to the front of our adorable card. I do lay the ghosts on the card panel to figure out how much of the coaster blank I need to trim off before I adhere it to the main image. There's ghost number 2. We have 1 ghost left to put on here. They are so cute. I love spooky cute. Spooky is fun too, but there's only a limited number of people I can send spooky things to. Spooky cute you can send to just about anyone. And this is not specifically a Halloween card because we're using this sentiment that says you have a boo-tiful soul, which is just so great, so punny, loving all of the versatility this adds to the card. Just adding a little bit of this glue, and we're going to direct this, or excuse me, we're going to adhere this directly to the front of the card. No extra dimension. We've got lots of dimension here. Inside, we're going to take our last ghost and adhere that directly inside the card. I have really decided that this is my favorite way to add images to the inside of a card, especially if there are coordinating dies. Same with the sentiments. I prefer to stamp them on a separate piece of cardstock and then adhere them to the inside of the card. Less chance of me messing it up. Oops. Be careful when you're adhering things that you don't sweep them away when you're trying to put pressure on them. I do close the card and apply pressure from the back. And that is our first project. We're going to move on to the next project here, and I decided to make some teacher thank you gifts. We're going to start out with the vintage tin tile plate and some Aura glimmer foil. This is a beautiful foil, and here I've foiled it on 2 different pieces of cardstock because we're going to need both. Trinity has some brand new blender brushes, and these are lovely. They have their own cover. This is Broken China, Salvaged Patina, and Speckled Egg Distress inks. These are not the oxides, these are the distress inks. And I'm going to ink blend both of these panels right over this Glimmer Hop foiling. I really love how this turned out. We're going to blend these together. The Salvaged Patina is going to go in the middle, and I love this crisp autumn sky feel that this adds. And the tin tile, vintage tin tile foiling really shines through this color. You think it's gorgeous on white, and then you see it on the ink blending. We're going to use the Trinity Stamps Pillow Box die, and this normally you would use 1 piece of cardstock. Well, you can't foil a big enough piece to do this all in 1 piece, so I figured out a way to do this where you use 2 pieces, and you're going to create 2 pieces with a flap. And the first one I made, they both had notches on them, but I figured out how to use create one with the notches on the fold down pieces and one without, and create a flap from the extra. It's really easy, actually. Now we'll just glue these together, and I think this gives the die set more flexibility since you aren't limited to using larger pieces of cardstock. And this way you can do your directional stuff too. So if you needed to do 2 different pieces to get your directions to make sense. We're also going to use the ripe pumpkin cut and foil with some tangerine foil, and I foiled this on some of the Spellbinders specialty cardstock. I also die cut the fine detail piece out of some dark gold pearlescent paper, and I'm going to adhere that to our ripe pumpkin that I die cut with the large solid pumpkin die in that set. That is a really fun set. We've got the foil plate that does this pretty pumpkin. We have the detail, we have the large pumpkin outline, and we have a couple of little sprigs that create curly vines, and there is a jack-o'-lantern face die. So much cute stuff. We're just using these 2 dies and the foil plate. We also have this large leaf die that creates this beautiful detailed large leaf, and we have the grateful die. This is really cool. It's just a detail cursive sentiment that says grateful with a shadow die, and I die cut that with the same pearlescent paper as I did with the pumpkin outline. We'll adhere the gold portion to some pearlescent white cardstock or shimmery white paper, cardstock. And I decided not to add any extra dimension behind that. And this is coming together very quickly. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but there are now dies that coordinate with this stamp set. This is a sentiment for almost everything, and there are 38 sentiments in that stamp set, and now there are 38 coordinating dies. So many. If you have taken the time to read all of those, there are so many amazing sentiments in there, including thank you, teacher. There's a thank you, coach, and there's a thanks so much. There's several thank you sentiments. And all the holidays throughout the year, and some encouragement and graduation, anniversaries, all the things. I die cut that with the coordinating die, and we're almost finished with this project. We're going to add a little bit of coaster blank on the back here. Again, you can use whatever method you like to use to create dimension, but we're only doing a small strip because this pillow box creates a curved edge. And you don't want to create extra tension on your pumpkin. So there's only going to be contact with the box in the center. I do tack down the leaf with the pumpkin. So I picked the leaf up first with the pumpkin and then added some adhesive behind the leaf where I needed it. I did add a little extra dimension behind the skinny thank you, teacher. And the grateful we're going to adhere directly to our pumpkin. And the glimmer foil, it takes adhesive over top of it very nicely. So you don't have to worry about that being a non-porous surface. The glue still works on it very well. We're also going to add some of these pretty tangerine trinkets, which I did not realize that they were all these different shapes. There's long rectangles, there's moons, there's a 4-pointed star, there are round, large, and small elements. It's really cool. I really like this. I was kind of hoping the other ones were like this, and I haven't investigated. I wonder if there are other gems that are these several different shapes. If not, these are really pretty, and it's a great color that's very versatile. I did decide to add a few of these around our pumpkin to add a finishing touch to this, and this will fit a few chocolates and a gift card perfectly. That is a great way to start the year by sharing some gratitude with your teacher before the year really gets rolling. Or anyone else. You could make this a thank you gift for anyone. Super cute. Just going to fold in our ends, and that actually goes together so easily. I was really pleased with this project. I did make another one off screen using more of the products that are released this time. And oops, one of my little gems fell off, so I'm going to add that back in place. I hope you're enjoying this release. There are so many fantastic projects. This one uses the pumpkin bouquet instead of the ripe pumpkin, and I did all the same things. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and be sure to leave a comment below. You want to have your chance to enter into a drawing for one of 2 $25 gift certificates to the Trinity Stamps store. This is a hop, so be sure you check that description box below for the link to the next person in the hop. In your comment, let me know what you're looking forward to most in this release. Until next time, here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.